Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this professional production of nothing but flammery and tomfoolery, Doug Ruggery. How are y'all doing? On this, I don't even know, what is today? Date Monday? Yeah, today's Monday. Alright, who we got here? Who we got? Who's keeping me company tonight? Randall, Cynthia, Gazer, Ed, Popo, Tactical Trucker. Lewis. Yes, Lewis, you got here on time, buddy. Just as I'm starting, you got here. Which I'm not really doing anything. I'm just telling you guys how hectic today's been. Oh, you like this background? You like this background? Here you go. We professional now. Now we're in my office. My office studio in a high rise. But I'll go back to... wait a minute. Nope. Nope. It's this one. There we go. I tend to like this one because my cat's right here. See my little sleeping kitty right here? Oh, sleeping kitty. So how y'all doing? Man, bro. This has been a crazy news day for the tube, man. I guess these riots in LA, man, got all these leftists, man. They crashing out, bro. They crashing out on the tube, man. This is ridiculous. It's bad that people get on the tube to crash out, man. It's not a good look, you know. It's not what you should be doing. Alright, so yeah, today's crazy because we're getting ready to go. Getting ready to get up out of here, bro. So, what does that mean? That means it is absolute chaos going on in my house right now. Oh, look who's in the chat. It's the Evil Brad. Everybody say hello to the Evil Brad. You guys are going to be seeing him the end of next week. because I will be live streaming from Gulfport. And the evil one there is going to... He's going to be there. So you guys will see him. What's up, JoJo? What's up, Gazer? Man, Gazer, you in and out before I really even get started. Man. Well, you have a good night. Have a good night, buddy. Alright, so what I got going on, because like I said, we are getting out of here in the morning, and that requires tons of preparation, because we are bringing an extra person on this trip. So instead of 4 of us, there's 5. And we are taking the dogs. So we are taking 2 vehicles. So I am driving my truck, pulling the RV with the dogs. So I will have both the dogs riding with me. And then my wife will be driving her SUV with all the girls and all their crap. So we're gonna tag team this bad boy, because it's about, what is it? It's about like a, with the RV, it's about an 8-hour drive, something like that. Hang on, let me see. You know, that's something I have not really plugged into Google to see how long of a drive it actually is. Let's see what Google has to say. Directions. Oh, you know what? I've got to check in. Oh man, I forgot to do that. I'm slipping, yo. I got to do that, man. Alright, so you know, I hate sometimes on Google Maps, it sometimes it doesn't load the doesn't load the building name. Sometimes I hate that, bro. Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, matter of fact, yeah, I gotta take that. Well, here's the thing. Randall. I'm still gonna have my knife wallet. My wallet knife. Knife wallet. I'm tired already. I'm gonna carry the Grid rigid wallet with the money clip, with the big money clip. I'm gonna carry that. And I'm just gonna put like maybe like 2 credit cards and my ID and my money. Okay, so with the loss of the hour, because we're going from Central Time to Eastern Time, it takes 8 hours. 7 hours of actually driving, and then 1 hour lost due to time zone. It's 530 miles is where I'm going. So that is what's on the agenda for tomorrow. We're going to clock 530 miles. And then what's crazy is next weekend, I'm going to get back with the RV Sunday. And then Thursday, we're going right back out in it. So, yeah. But when we get down Ed, no, it's 8 hours there, 7 hours. So there's 7 hours of driving. So no matter how you look at it, there's 7 hours of driving. 7 hours both ways. 7 hours of driving there and 7 hours of driving back. So I'm trying to leave here at, I want to be on the road by 7:30, because when I go in the morning, like this afternoon, all my stuff is already in the RV. So I went and I put all my stuff, I took my Xbox and brought it in here earlier today, because I do have an Xbox, a Xbox One S, you know, the little white one. It's an older one, but I have an external hard drive hooked up to it with a bunch of games downloaded on it. So what I do is I use that just in case we happen to go to an RV park that has crappy Wi-Fi. At least you can still have some kind of entertainment for a little bit, you know, in the RV. So I had to bring that in and hook it up to the Ethernet, because of course the Xbox needed to be updated, and then literally like 10 games needed to be updated. So I went ahead and did that and got that squared away. Got all my crap packed, and it's in the RV. So I am ready to go. And I'm toting all of my stuff. And my wife's going to load up the SUV with all of the kids, all the girls' stuff, and they're gonna handle that. So, yeah. And I'm staying in the RV. The wife and girls, they're staying at the resort. So, and the only reason why we're doing it this way is because, get this, guys. Okay, the reason why I bought the RV was to take trips so I can take my dogs. That's like the reason why I bought the RV. Usually, my in-laws watch our dogs. But, as fate would have it, this week, they took their anniversary trip. And I didn't really know. So, boarding 2 dogs for, you know, like, because we're going to be back Sunday. So basically, it would have been today. It would have been Monday to Monday. So it would have been a week, you know, boarding a golden retriever and our little dog was like over $500. Okay? $500. My reservation at this RV park in Kissimmee was only $300. So I kind of made the executive decision, and I told my wife, I said, look, we're just going to take 2 cars down there, and I'll stay at the RV park with the dogs, because literally it's only like a 15-minute ride up to the, you know, park. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then the wife and girls will be able to because they're not driving anywhere. You know, they're taking the park transportation, you know, to get to the parks. So they don't need to drive. Once they get to the resort, they're done. So that's kind of the logistics of how all this is going to work out. And I kind of do like it better because I stress out. I have a lot of stress and anxiety if I'm gone away from the dogs. I don't like being away from my dogs. So this kind of works out better. But I'm going to be doing a lot of video content while I'm down there, and I'm going to be doing a lot of live streams. Because I did pack my vlogging camera, my gimbal for my phone. I packed all my battery banks, all my cables. So yeah. So hopefully we're going to have a good time. So the only thing I have to do is I have to get there early because I have to hook up to the RV and get the RV ready to travel, because right now it is hooked up to power. So I have to, undo the power, roll up my power cord, stow it away, and then hook the RV up and get it ready to travel. And that takes me about 30 minutes. So once I do that, I'll be on the road. And I really don't stop a whole lot. So yes, this week, the remainder of this week, I will have live streams at very sporadic times. I will not have a set time, like in the evening. I may go live in the morning, so yeah. So if you are browsing on YouTube, just be ready, because I will be popping up every now and then. Hey Gary, what's up, buddy? Cliff, I'm pretty sure I acknowledged you, but if I didn't, I'm acknowledging you again. So, alright, Popo. Have a good night, buddy. So like I said, after this trip, I will be going to Gulfport and going to a big car show on the Gulf Coast called Scraping the Coast, and that will be next week. So that's what's going to be on the agenda for next week. But more importantly, I'm very curious to see how much better my gas mileage is going to be on my truck. I'm very interested to see the difference in gas mileage when I'm towing, because now my truck is deleted. It's deleted, tuned. I got a bigger intercooler. I got a Banks intercooler. I got a Banks cold air intake. And I got an exhaust gas temperature probe now on the number 6 cylinder of the exhaust manifold. So I'm very curious to see how my truck does pulling, 10,000 pounds. Yeah, Donald. That he lives in Talkeetna, Talkawama Nama Nama Nama, Alaska. Yeah, that's him. You got to take out a radiator and a 19 GMC. Well, I have the last I have the last year of the 4th gen Cummins, Ram Cummins truck, which was a 2018. So I have the last Cummins engine that was an iron block. Well, now the new ones, they went back to iron blocks. But I have an iron block with flat tappet lifters. I don't have hydraulic roller lifters in my truck. So technically, I call my truck, really the last of the really good Cummins motors. Although for 25, they did circle back to the iron block. But now they have internal glow plugs, which are they're gonna rue the day that they're doing their glow plugs the way they're doing them. So the only thing that I still have got left to do to my truck is head studs. I'm going to do the number 6 cylinder coolant bypass to the number 6 cylinder, and I'm going to do the Baby Maker valve body with the cooling bypass on the transmission. Those are kind of the last things that I want to do to my truck. So yeah, pretty much I got everything ready to go. I just changed my fuel filters last week. I'm probably about 1,800 miles on an oil change, which ain't bad. I just had this morning. I had my tires rotated and balanced. And right now my truck is fully fueled. So I am ready to chug on down the road. So yeah, I'm very curious to see, with all of this stuff I've just done to the truck, because I did everything all at one time. Like when we deleted it, we went ahead and changed out and put the bigger intercooler, the Banks cold air intake, all that stuff. We did it. We did all at the same time. You had oil in your antifreeze. Ooh, that's not good. I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. We've got a crane that's got an old, like a 70s era Detroit diesel in it, and we replaced the jugs in it, and so while we had the top end apart, we pulled the oil pan and got in there with a pressure washer, because it had just sludge build up in the oil pan. So we got in there and we tried to clean everything out, and then we re-sprayed everything with oil, clean oil, and put it all back together. And And I said, well, we'll run it, because we don't use the crane that much, so it doesn't get ran a lot anyway. So we, my thing was, I said, we'll run it, we'll do a couple lifts with it, and then we'll go ahead and we'll change the oil, just to be on the safe side. And we went to change the oil. The dipstick was up over full like half an inch. And I'm like, what is going on? So I reached down there and so when we drained the oil out in a 5-gallon bucket, it literally filled the bucket. The 5-gallon bucket almost to where it was overflowing. And I'm like, wait a minute, this thing don't take over 5 gallons of oil. So something's going on. And you reach down there and you smell the oil. It smelled like diesel fuel. And I said, oh, this is not good. So I went back and forth, and we changed the oil and ran the crane for just maybe 30 minutes and cut it off. Checked the oil's fine and let it set. And dude, checked the oil again, and the dipstick was creeping up over full. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at it, and I said, okay, well, it's definitely, we're getting diesel fuel. We're getting diesel fuel in the oil. So my experience with diesel engines is just newer engines. So we get up there, and we take the valve cover off, and then we're looking at it because the injectors are all hard lined right there, right there. So get a wrench, and we start torquing on all the fuel feed lines to the injectors. One of them was loose. Cranked it down, tightened it back up, and I said, and I said, okay. Well, if the pressure feed to the injector was loose and it was leaking, I was sitting there thinking, well, but how could the diesel fuel get in the oil? Because I'm thinking newer, modern diesel engines, because that wouldn't happen in a modern diesel engine. And I'm like, how in the hell could that fuel get into the oil? And you look down in the cylinder head, and it's like the oil valley's right there. And I'm like, oh, if the fuel feed to the injectors does leak, it runs right down right past the cylinder head and goes right into the oil valley. And I'm like, oh, that's how. Okay. Good old Detroits, man. Gotta love them. But it was an easy fix, so that's a good thing. A 60 series. Don't get me to lie to you, man. I really don't remember. That's been a hot minute since we did all that. I want to say, hang on, let me look something up real quick. I think it was a. Let's see. I don't remember. It sounds like that 60 series. That sounds very familiar. It was a 281. I do remember that. It was a Detroit 281. That 60 series, that sounds familiar. That sounds like that might be right. Because what led us down this rabbit hole of working on this engine is one day, my guys went out to crank it up, and it would just spin over. It would just spin over. Even hitting it with ether, it would just spin. And I said, okay, well, something's wrong. And so, first thing, verified that it had fuel. And it did have fuel, because we cracked the injectors to make sure we were spraying fuel. So I'm sitting up there, and I'm like, okay. And mind you, I'm not a mechanic, okay? But I do know a little bit. And I said, okay, here's what I know about diesel engines. If you give a diesel engine fuel, air, and compression, it's gonna go. I mean, that's why you have runaway diesel engines. Because if they've got compression and they've got fuel and they got air, they're gonna go. So we verified that we had fuel, and I said, okay, now we need to verify that we have air. So we started at the very back of the crane. We started at the intake. We took the intake apart, took the intake tubes apart, looked, make sure nothing had, went awry, made it all the way down the bend to where the supercharger was. Took the housing for the supercharger off. The supercharger was completely seized up. And I was like, supercharger not spinning, that will make this crane not crank. And boy, let me tell you something. You are an internet sleuth when you can find a 70s era Bucyrus Erie yard crane, a supercharger. But I found one. It took me a hot minute. It took me about a week of calling probably 50 people all across the U.S. But I did find somebody that had a supercharger for that crane. A remanned one that I was able to get. Yeah, Detroit movers were known for runaway engines. Yeah, a lot of the old cranes, because they were, they're all straight, they're all straight mechanical. There's no electric crap on them. So everything's on a mechanical. That's why you had, at least it's my opinion, that's why you had bad problems with runaway diesels back in them days. Because all it took was something to get jammed up or something to get stuck, and there you go. You got a runaway diesel engine that you can't cut off. All you can do is take your shirt off, take your shirt off and throw it into the intake and pray it chokes it, And I've seen guys do that, man. I watch these diesel, these crazy, insane diesel drag racers, where they hook big loads up to the trucks and stuff, and they drag race them. I love watching that stuff, man. I've seen a guy take his shirt off and throw it in the turbo inlet. All right, Randall. Yeah, like I said, buddy, I will be going live, man. The only thing I'm debating, which I'm probably not going to take it. I was going to take the drone, man, and fly the drone around the RV park, but I don't think I'm going to do that. But I'm definitely going to take the drone next week when we're on the Gulf Coast. So I'm definitely going to take the drone then, but not now, because I don't think there's really any reason. Because I'm thinking about doing a video on the RV park, which I probably will do. Because, because when I looked up this RV park on YouTube, just to see people, other RVers that have done reviews on it, there weren't really a whole lot of reviews on this RV park. Wow, you had a generator run away? Wow, that sucks. Yeah, I mean, I just took one of our air compressors this past week. It's a what kind of motor is on that thing? It's just a 185 CFM diesel air compressor. But man, I want to say it's got a Kubota engine in it. It's got a really good engine in it. And now it's probably what? It's probably 6-7 years old. And I took it back to the place we bought it from because they're a Cowan Equipment. They're a nationwide rental place. Yeah, it's like an IR, yeah. And I know all the guys, from service to sales, the yard guys. So they, I said, hey man, I need to bring my air compressor in and have you guys, service it and change all the filters and the oil, flush out the radiator and all that. So when I took it, I sit up there and shoot the crap with the guys. And so when I pulled in the yard, you have to get let in through the gate. And they let me in, and so when they saw me, a couple of the guys came out, and I said, where do you want me to put this thing? Oh, put it over there. So, I back the thing up, and I'm getting out of the truck, and I'm, jacking the wheel down, getting ready to unhook it from the truck. And so we're talking, and I'm telling him what all I want him to do and to look for and all that. And he says, well, he goes, man, he said, I wish we had these, these because that air compressor that I have, I bought it from them, brand new, but it was one of the air compressors that they would normally have in their rental fleet. It's just, they buy extras to sell, and that's how I got it. They gave me a really good deal on it. And man, the dude told me, he said, bro, he said, I wish we had all these air compressors back. And I'm like, why? He said, because all this new crap that we're getting, he says, nothing but problems. It's all junk. All these new air compressors are all junk. He said, because even the 185s, he said the 185s have 2 computers in them. And he said, dude, he said, you have nothing but problems with them. And then trying to troubleshoot them is a nightmare because of the computers that are in them, So troubleshooting them isn't the easiest thing. And then when you do find something wrong, like if something is wrong with one of the computers, replacing them is outrageously expensive. So yeah, it's crazy, dude. Hey, what's up, Chris? Is my do I have a scan run or something? What the hell is going on? The only thing that I would have wished we would have done, I wish we would have bought a 250, because all we got's a 185, and a 185 is not enough. We need a 250. So it's one of those things, there's nothing you can do about it now, because we already got it. But yeah, it would have been nice, man. It would have been so nice to have a 250 CFM air compressor instead of a 185. Because we definitely, when we're blasting, we need like 250. 250 would have been perfect. Because right now we're using two mechanically driven compressor heads to try to make up the CFM volume, and I'm not really sold on how good that actually works. Why is the mezcal always gone? The mezcal? What you talking about, mezcal? What you talking about? So yeah, I am excited, bro. I am super excited. I'm not excited about tomorrow and the drive, but I'm excited for... I'm excited for 8 hours after 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll be excited. Mezcal. You don't know mezcal. Give me a second. This is the only mezcal that I know of. Uh-oh. Hang on, let me do away with this blur. This is the only mezcal that I know of. With the worm. The worm down there. The worm in there. So, is this the mezcal you're talking about? Because if this is the mezcal you're talking about, I got it. I told y'all. I got a ton of booze, man. I got a ton of booze. Okay, tequila. Okay, so, yeah, we're on the same page then. I got you. I got you right here. So, yeah, what's up, Skibby? Thank you for coming in hot with the mezcal. Brad, what tires you run on your truck? Okay, I have 2 sets of rims and tires for my truck. The travel tires that are on my truck are I've got a wide set of rims, that are negatively off-spaced, with a set of 33, 12.5, 20 Nitto. I used to have Nitto Ridge grapplers, and then I I'm gonna go back to the Ridge grapplers, but I used to have. What I got on there now is the what are they? The Nitto Terra grapplers. They're the more they're the more road tire, if there is such a thing. Recon grapplers. Recon grapplers. Okay, that's what I've got on my kind of flashy set of rims. The rims that are on my truck now are the stock wheels, but I have a set of Firestone Transforce. I don't want to tell you the wrong ones. Let's see, because I just put a new set of tires on the truck. I want to say they're AT2s, I think. They're Transforce AT2s. Yes. Yeah, that's what I got. They're expensive. You know, they're expensive tires. They're almost $400 a tire. Or when you buy them from a tire shop, they're a little over $400 a tire. So to get them put on and everything with road hazards, like two grand. And I just got those put on, and I don't have I've got maybe 3,000-4,000 miles on them. So they're like a radial, but the radial pattern is a little spread apart and a little more aggressive. So it's technically it's an all-terrain tire, you know, it's an AT. It's an AT tire, but it's more on the side of like a highway tire than a straight up off-road tire. But the reason why I wanted those was because they're quiet. Those tires generally, they don't roar when you go down the road, because I can't stand, like, I had MTs. I had a set of MTs on my truck one time. And after about 10,000 miles, I couldn't take it. And I had to get rid of them. But I do take my truck off-road. But I don't go off of paths off-road. Like, I'm not straight up driving through a hole in the woods. You know, I'm driving on, trails, on truck trails in the woods. So I do need a tire, I don't need a radial, on my truck. Hey, what's up, Robert? You been quiet? Well, thank you for being here, buddy. Yeah, and the bad thing is that right now, the tires would be the least of my concern on my truck, because when we did all this stuff to my truck, the guy that did the work, he's like, "Hey man, do you want when we put this exhaust on your truck, do you want a muffler? Because it's straight piped." He said, "Do you want a muffler?" And I'm like, "Nah." I said, "Just straight pipe it." So right now I have a straight pipe Cummins, and she's loud. Like for real loud, especially on cold starts. Like when I crank it up in the morning, my truck is loud, bro. And like it's funny because I ride around, I drive my truck with the exhaust brake on, but I don't have it on full. I have it on auto. So the only time the exhaust brake engages is when I physically, depress the gas. Like the exhaust brake really it won't ever come on, just me like letting off the gas. I have to be decelerating and physically on the brake for the exhaust brake to come on. But bro, when that exhaust brake comes on, it's like, dude, it sounds like a big rig. I'm talking about, it's crazy, dude. Like everybody at work, when I get there in the morning, because it's real quiet where our shop is. And when I come down the road, they say besides the turbo and that, you know, say, man, dude, man, we hear you. You can't sneak up on nobody with that truck. So yeah. So yeah, everybody needs to go to Melissa Backwood's channel because she's posting wrap-up videos of Blade Show in Atlanta, and she's showing off a lot of the new blades and, you know, a lot of her favorite stuff. So you ought to check it out. It's really good. Very jealous. She got to see a whole lot of cool stuff. Chris, you sent me a message on IG. I'm gonna start having to mess with it. I think I did see it. Hang on. I'm gonna start messing with Instagram, especially this week. I'm gonna try to start posting stuff on Instagram. Because believe it or not, these companies, man, they want you to have a following on, like, Instagram, on X, and dude, I don't mess with none of that crap, bro. So I guess I need to start. But yeah, I think I did see it. Let's see, how do I even get to the... How do I even find that shit, bro? Man, this is ridiculous, bro. I don't understand all this technology. Messages, there we go, yeah. Yeah, I did look at that. Yeah, the donut hat. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. That was cool. I'm telling you, bro, this donut shit, man, that's the cat's meow, yo. Yeah, I appreciate you sending me that. Chris, hopefully you're still here. So, Skibby. Okay, so Skibby, you... Okay. Alright, so, okay, you like that. Okay, that's cool. Alright, let's see, what else we got? Since you like tequila. Let's see. All right, Gary. Peace out, yo. Yeah, I've got some good tequila. Yeah, I've got a lot of Patron. I mean, you guys have seen all my Patron. But that's really not good stuff. Dude, you don't like rum? Bro. Why are you a hater, man? Don't be a hater. What's wrong with rum? But we can talk whiskey. What, yeah, I just got rid of a bottle of Weller. I got rid of a bottle of Weller and a bottle of Eagle Rare that I got in the lottery. I had a buyer come through, and we were talking about bourbon, and you know, I just kind of offhandedly said, I said, I was kind of going through my stuff because I had just finished that bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, and I was like, yeah, I've still got a bottle of Weller. Well, and I've got a bottle of Stag that is about 3/4 done, and I was like, well, I've got you know, a bottle of Weller, and that I was trying to figure out which one I was going to go to next, and Eagle Rare. And so the dude said, he said, man, you want to part with any of them bottles? And I said, because down here, man, like, generally, you know, I go to a place in Atlanta, you know, to get a lot of my, you know, kind of hard release bottles. And I'm like, well, not really. I really don't want to part with them. And he was like, well, and really, I don't need to drink anymore, because I'm getting older and my health is, it's not saying my health is bad, but it's just, it's you know, I need to try to be more healthier, you know, which is why right now I'm drinking water. So when I told him, you know, that I had the Weller and the Eagle Rare, I showed him the bottles, and he offered me $8.50. You know, he offered me $8.50 for each bottle. So, you know, it was like, that was a quick $1,700, and you know, I didn't have nowhere near $1,700 in both the bottles, like nowhere even close to that. So I was like, yeah, I said, yeah, I'll sell them, you know. So, oh, look at this Dart Defender coming up in here talking about Jim Beam Devil's Cut. Man, what you know about Devil's Cut, bro? I'm telling you, you guys are not gonna trip. You guys are not gonna get me on drinking. I promise you, you're not gonna get me on drinking. All right, Ed. Be cool, brother. Yeah, hey man, be looking out for me this week, bro. I'm gonna be going live. I'm gonna be going live a lot, man. Be taking you guys with me, man. What's up, Bugaboo? Where are you going?
They want McDonald's.
Okay. Ever had cask 18 of what? Cask 18 is that's kind of very nondescript there, Cliff. You got to be a little more to the point, man. Yeah, see, this is the picture I sent the guy. So there's my bottle. That's my bottle of Weller that I had, and then there's my bottle of Eagle Rare. Generally for bourbon, I'm kind of fickle on bourbon. I don't like bourbon to sit in the barrel for that long. You know, to me, bourbon, if it goes over 15 years in the barrel, it starts becoming too earthy, man. I just don't like it. And that's just my own personal palate, you know. You know, I cracked open an $8,000 bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, you know, and it was a family reserve bottle, and I just didn't like it, bro. Like, man, dude, I said, nah, this ain't my jam, man. You know, it's not my jam, bro. And a lot of people are like, oh, man. And I'm like, look, man, just because the bourbon's expensive doesn't mean it's good. You know, just because it's expensive. You know. Expensive does not mean better. But to be fair, the Pappy being, you know, it was a family reserve. It was a 23-year family reserve bottle, and you know, to be fair, that bottle, 23 years, man, that's a long time, bro. You know. But yeah. But all this stuff is not good for you to drink. You know, that's why I'm really trying to stop. Because it's not, especially when you start getting older. It seems like when you start getting older, man, it's more, you know, drinking harder stuff is way more detrimental to you when you're older than it is when you're younger. But, Skibby, it's funny that you don't like rum, man, because I got some good rum, bro. Oh, man, it's not in here. So, Crown Royal, I mean, they only made one batch, then the distillery burned down? You mean like Crown Royal, like Crown Royal? Are we talking about the same Crown Royal? The Crown Royal that's made in Canada? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of good rums out there. Well, it's like tequila. You know, there's a lot of people that are only used to like 1850. You know, when you say tequila, and 1850 is nasty. So if you're connoisseuring spirit of tequila only, it, you know, goes to 1800 gold, I mean, then yeah, you're not going to like tequila. I mean, there's plenty of tequila out there that you can sip and drink. It's that good, but it's expensive. Let's see. Yes, it was the original reserve recipe before it was lost. I find that hard to believe. There's no recipe of anything that's ever lost. Especially if it was any good. If a recipe of any liquor, any alcohol that was ever made, if it was good, those recipes have never been lost. Certainly not because a distillery burnt down. Because the distillery burning down doesn't mean nothing. It's the brewers. Unless you're saying that this distillery burnt down with all the master brewers inside of it, maybe. But the distillery burning down don't mean nothing. Like, for example, when you talk about American bourbon, and a lot of people like to throw shade on. They like to God dang, man, I moved all kinds of stuff around. Anyway, a lot of people like to crap on Buffalo Trace. And they say, oh, well, Buffalo Trace is nasty. Buffalo Trace Distillery, they make some of the best American bourbon that you buy. Buffalo Trace is the brewery, the distillery makes so many brands, including Pappy Van Winkle. It's just when you get in talking to people, a lot of people they don't know, But it's just like when you get into Scotch, there's people that like Highland malt and some that like Speyside. And the subtle differences in Scotch, because really at the end of the day, it all depends on you. It all depends on what you like. I've had let's see. I've had some cheap. I can't even remember now, bro. It's so many brands have passed over my palate. It's not even funny. I've had some cheap garbage brands, that I've liked, But to me, it's just funny when you see people drinking bourbon, and they smoke a cigar while they're drinking bourbon. But they want to drink some expensive bourbon whilst they smoke a cigar, which is the most backwards thing to do. Because the minute you puff on that cigar, it oversaturates your taste buds. So the bourbon, it doesn't matter what you're drinking. It doesn't really matter. You're not going to taste it anyway. The Campbelltowns. Ah, Glenlivet. Yeah. Yeah, well, well, here you go. Here you go, Skibby. I got something for you. I got you an 18-year bottle of Glenfiddich here, which is really good. Hadn't done nothing with it yet. And this is a really good bottle. So I got that one. And then another good one I got an 18-year bottle of Jameson, which is a really good bottle. And this is a limited reserve bottle of Jameson. Have not got into it either. Hey, Skibby. Hey, Skibby. You want me to make you jealous? Man, bourbon and cigars are not the best with company. Just do one or the other, man. Just sit around with your friends and smoke cigars or drink bourbon. Don't do both, especially at the same time. Jesus. Or make sure whatever bourbon you're drinking is just some old cheap shit. Now, Skibby, since you are a fan of Glenlivet, let me make you jealous and show you how much I like Glenlivet. There's an Archive 21 bottle. Empty. This was a good bottle. But, backing it up, I got a 16 Nadura. Oof. Man, makes me wanna open one of these bottles, man. I'm gonna tell you what I like doing, bro. For real, I like packing my cigar. I mean, my pipe. This is one of my main pipes. And, sitting around just talking crap. You know, I'll go to our local tobacco shop here, and I'll buy a lot of maybe like 6 varieties of tobacco, of flavored tobacco, and just sit around and just pass it around, man, and let everybody try it. Just talk crap and puff pass on tobacco. Haven't done this in a while though. Man, why is the wind kicking up right now, man? It's dark, yo. What the crap? You keep going back to the standard. Ain't nothing wrong with that. They made an illegal cask or something of the standard, just uncut, and that shit's fire. Oh yeah, I love pipes, man. If you want something for flavor, just straight up flavor, tobacco's where it's at. Flavored tobacco's where it's at. Because there's so many varieties. And what you do, you get a longer stem pipe. That way, as you're puffing off the tobacco, a shorter stem for people that don't know, that aren't used to it, it pulls hotter than like a cigar. So you just get a little bit longer stem pipe so that when it hits your mouth, it's not as hot. And dude, you can get all kinds of good flavor, just flavor, Oh no, man! Once you get you a good spread of tobacco for a pipe, no, I would take a good smorgasbord of tobacco, of flavored tobacco, and a pipe over a cigar any day of the week. I've had very few cigars, very few, that can match the taste pattern or the taste profile of flavored tobacco out of a pipe. Probably the phallic imagery. Well, that's because you're a pervert, man. That's all. God dang, what is going on with the weather, man? Yo. Okay, it just got really insane outside. Whoa, yo. That is some crazy wind. Holy crap. Man, I might have to go run out to my front door, man, and grab my pillows off my swing. That's not good. Yo, man, I need to look at the weather radar real quick, man. Where is all this crap coming from? I thought all this stuff was going to be north of us this evening. Give me the radar, yo. What is going on? Give me the radar. Holy crap, look at that front line. Jeez, oh Friday. Woo! Whoa. Hey, man, we under attack, yo. Jeez, oh Friday. We getting attacked, man. We getting attacked. Look at this. Man, y'all send help, man. Look at this. Look at all this crap. Look at this. Man, dude. This is what we getting hit with right now. Look at that. This is disrespectful weather right here. I don't appreciate all that, yo. That's not good. Man, bro, it's raining like nobody's business. And what's bad, my wife is out in it. Man, let me see where she's at. That's about the one good thing I love about Apple with the iPhones. is if your family's all linked together, you can locate them through the phone. Whew. That is some rain. Oh, there she is. She got here just in time for the torrential downpour that's going on outside. Yeah, hang on a second. I gotta get the door for her because she's gonna be running. She's gonna be running for her life. Good Lord. Alright, guys, I'm about to let y'all go. No, it ain't no chicken fries. She went and got some. My girl's wanting some stuff. I'm gonna go help her real quick because, man, this weather is getting crazy. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Be looking for me tomorrow, alright? I'll see you guys tomorrow, some point during the day. Hopefully, maybe. So be looking for me. Y'all have a good night, man. I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.